The 8th of November 2023. Well, I've done a video on the Gardaí and joining the Gardaí and advice for people who would like to join, and I want to move to other professions because the Irish state and most countries need a police force, some type of military, they need a prison service, they need teachers, and they need nurses. Am I leaving anyone out? Well, anyway, we'll go for them. I have it written here: nursing and teaching, and the prison service, and the military to an extent, the naval service, and all of that. Well, you see, we have an outrageous government. We have outrageous people. Now, the Irish people didn't really know what they were doing. They're fed propaganda by Radio Television Sheridan and the newspapers, and it's absolutely unbelievable, the level of propaganda. And teachers are leaving. They're not staying. I knew several teachers who had jobs, girls mainly, and in local schools and all that. And it's not that easy now because there's so much of this whole woke indoctrination of kids. And it's quite possible that unless we can stop them, they'll be recommending children for sex altering operations. When I was a boy, I never had a sore throat. There were three of us, me and we call him Jerry, and a not named another chap, right? You know, me, another chap, two other chaps, all at school. None of us ever had a sore throat. They horsed us down to the hospital and pulled my tonsils out, and I woke up and there were big black blobs of blood running down my throat. I was only about 11. The dirty Jeannie Mac, I was mad. It was only when I was coming home I realised what they had done to me. They only put me in there to get figures. Now, however, that's the past. I'm still here, a bit subject to colds. But the day will come when they'll go some assessor going round to schools and will say, well, how to put this fella here? Oh, he's already here. This fella's a wee bit sissy here now. We'll talk. Bring him in here. Well, how are you doing? What's your name? Patrick. Oh, how are you, Patrick? How do you feel about your gender and all that? I don't read a book and I don't know that. The next thing is they'll have a form out, send him up to the hospital and have him surgically altered his sexuality. Castrated it effectively. That's what they're going to do. And then some girl, this lady here, Jennifer, yeah, well, she seems to be one. And come in, Jennifer, we'll have a chat with you. I wouldn't mind being a boy and all that. Set her up and do some type of an operation on her and give them hormones, and give the boys hormones to grow breasts and all this. They're fit for it. There is a huge movement for that in the United States. And it's there in Britain. And there was so much effort put into stopping child pornography and paedophilia. It took years to get the Irish state and the states and the Americans on to tackle this in the church and everything else. But these people have not gone away. They've not gone away. I'm not so sure that a lot of the people convicted of viewing pornography, even with young people, would go on to offend themselves. I've never really seen the evidence, and there is a few reports on that, but you don't have to hang me out on that. I'm just making that point. But certainly the idea of having kids involved in anything to do with gender or sexuality is not right. And if a person wants to be a drag queen like Danny LaRue, that's all right. But you see them there in videos in America where they come in all dressed up. An old lad like me, and dressed up like a woman, a big wig, and inviting the child to put his hand up their leg and all of this. This is happening. And then you have the crack of a man running in women's sports. And I can't wait, for one thing, just for a laugh, to see Katie Taylor taking on a big rug of a man. That'll come where there'll be equality in sport, and you can just declare your gender, and off you go. They're in the swimming, they're in everything. This is ludicrous stuff. A biological male involved in boxing with a woman, with a wee little lump of a woman. It's funny, like, if it wasn't serious. But the kids are even worse than that. Now, how we got there, I don't know, and I'll tell you, there is 30% of the villains of men and women in the Republic of Ireland who will vote for this. Don't you be in any doubt, they'll vote. Rascals they are. Rascals. And they're climate change. And, oh, he's this and that, he's climate change. My attitude is just leave them alone. I voted yes to the same sex um, marriage equality on the grounds that gay men have the same right, as someone said, to be as miserable as ordinary men. Anyway, better not say any more. The wife mightn't like me for saying that, but I'm only being funny there. But this is the thing. This is the crack with teaching. So you're facing this. They're all going out to Dubai and out to the Middle East. There's none of that baloney there. None of it. So this is the thing. Now to do with we'll say teaching. That's teaching. Nursing. Well, nursing is not so bad. It's a hard job. Anytime you go into a hospital and see nurses, it's not an easy job. And they'll try and take the care of them that they won't be able to get into hospitals. A lot of nurses live away out a bit from where the hospital is, and it's a tough job. They're great, and I think they're nice people. I go on. It's nice when to have them there, and people really do appreciate the health service. I hope to God that we still get them. It's not seen as a very glamorous job. You dress up in working clothes and a bluey coat, and off you go, and that's it. And it's not easy. And then there's care assistants doing the same. I hope we can still get them. I hope that sometimes a very high standard of living and very high pay in inflationary times can coax ladies away to other jobs. And I know a lady who would not be a teacher, a guard, or a nurse, and studied health and safety and environment, and works for a big builder, huge builder, as the environmental officer and all that, and is doing extremely well. And there's none of this old baloney. The problem with all of these, now I'm not saying much about the prison service. It's not a very nice job, but you have early retirement out of it, and there's not too much of a challenge. Maybe it's good enough for a lot of people. Only for it, we have to have prisons. I mean, you just can't have criminals running around the place. That's my view, anyway. But the trouble with with the nurses and the teachers and that is this loony society. Your management are lulaws, bog standard. You mightn't try to educate them because they wouldn't listen. They think they know it all, and they're the ones get promoted. And the more baloney they have, they get promoted. And 40 years ago in radio, television, Sheridan, anyone who was an obstructionist and who wasn't fit to do the basic work of setting up interviews and setting up things for the programs being broadcast was promoted and sent upstairs. They couldn't get rid of them, so they promoted them. Okay, so all told, we're in big trouble if we can't get guards, teachers, nurses, prison officers, military people, navy people, and things like that. Then we have the people who are flying the emergency helicopter off Mayo. There was, I think, 4 of them killed in a helicopter crash. I mean, great people, terrible loss. Like, you know, it is a terrible loss. But those are glamour jobs. And there's a job now being picked by an awful lot of women and men. Is pilot, an airline pilot. Now I know 7 hours crossing the Atlantic, but still, it's not that bad. In a way, if I had my life to live again, I suppose the farm would have held me down, but I could have been a pilot on Aer Lingus there, or any Irish thing, and it's not that far from here, up and down, and I'd be just as well off now. Maybe I'd get sick of it, I don't know. But don't discount being an airline pilot, and you'll see a lot of videos there on YouTube doing that. Now, there are other jobs then, accountancy, which is vital. They do a lot of work. And there's a lot of that in the economy. But before I finish, and I'm going to get away from this now altogether, I am not against the Irish state or any of those things. I'm not against a good European Union. I now realise the European Union is a failure. It's not democratic. It has reneged on its promises to me in a big way and destroyed my environment as a result. I see its economy crashing. I see the mad Germans, mad they are, their economy crashing with their green baloney. But I also see all this crack in America and the battle royal now just joining up with Trump versus Biden, and Biden's all for, and his crowd are all for this type of woke stuff, while Trump is trying to recover that. And you see the war that's on there. And I mean, if Trump is convicted, it's policemen that'll have to take him into custody and all that. The man that supported policemen. So this is the perverse nature, and it can only be fixed by the American, the British, and the Irish people stopping supporting these. And to be quite honest, I don't think there's a hope. That old Keir Starmer, old Labour idiot in England, and that idiocy Labour Party, I mean, people are going to vote for them. Imagine that. They are going to vote. And in Scotland, now that the SNP has been discredited, they're going to vote for the Labour crowd there again. I mean, that's a horrific, uh, boring, horrible thing. Now, you have Conservatives with that fella, that Rishi Sunak. Well, he's a bit better. There's some wee bit of, a little bit of wit about him. And then you have Farage, who should be the Prime Minister. If Nigel Farage was the Prime Minister, Brexit would work, you'd have a thriving economy, you'd have a happy people. But he's not, and they won't vote for him. So this is a problem. The people refuse to support righteousness. And they expect to have nurses, guards, policemen, military, navy, teachers, and all of those services. And they think they can go in and vote for villains and loonies, and that they're going to have all the services they want. Folks, if you voted for these creeps and you go into hospital in a few years' time and there's no one there to treat you, or you get bad treatment, you deserve every bit of it. That's what you get. You had your ballot paper, you had an opportunity to support somebody half decent, one, and if there's only one on it or two, and vote for them, and you refused. You refused. A load of people in Dublin South voted for Ryan. That's a fact. And that what do you call her, Catherine Martin of the Greens, these are lunatics. And YouTube will probably ban me now for saying that, because they say you have to be respectful. I have no respect for people that does that to kids. So I can't really say. Still, if you want to join in the economy, I certainly hope that we get teachers for the children coming on, and that we manage to force this woke agenda out of the schools and let them pump off with themselves, and let teachers do what's right, and stop jailing people for calling boys him and he. Until we manage that, until we get a grip on that, it's a bleak future. There are good people in Ireland, good people in Northern Ireland, good people in Britain, and they deserve better, but we're outnumbered. We are outnumbered. We're outnumbered. Unless we can persuade them to come back and stop doing it. It's pretty bleak. And they have no say in the world. The world is now blowing up in their faces with Ukraine. And that's effectively over. Zelensky's not going to be taken back to Crimea or anything else. That's it. America will throw another 12 months of money at, and then they'll probably walk away. A lot of countries are walking away. The same in Israel. I mean, there was an opportunity to try and fix that, and they didn't do it. And the big danger with the Arab-Israeli thing, I didn't particularly take sides, but I'm very upset about the loss of life that Hamas inflicted, and the loss of life that the Israelis seem to be giving joint. They're pounding everybody, even the ones that didn't do it at all or had nothing to do with it. And now they're trying to take over the Gaza and put the people to Ireland. They have said to put them to Ireland. And this is because our government is so woke. But the big problem there is the Arabs may rise up, and particularly Turkey. Turkey is the second biggest military in NATO. And Erdogan got a lot of support. He might decide to act. And I'll tell you, if he decides to act, you're going to have fireworks. And you're going to have one NATO country fighting America, another one. So the thing has gone mad, but we have to run our little country. We have to try and keep sanity. We have to, from what I know of the Garda Commissioner, he's woke. If that's the case, we will need to get rid of him as quick as possible. I don't really know, but we need to make sure whoever gets the job again is not woke. And we need to get away from this. That's all I can say. We have to have services. I hope that young people go to be nurses, male and female nurses, psychiatric nurses, take on the professions and all of that. We need all of those professions in our economy, and we're making it increasingly hard. If it's only to get a blooming place to put your head down at night after you finish a hard day's work, it is a nightmare we have created by bringing in all these people. And then what happened during the COVID? What happened during the COVID? Who would go through that again? Who would go through that again? I mean, we don't need to, we don't need to start there. I've already mentioned it. But who'd want to go through that again? It could raise its head again, and if it does something like it, they'll go every bit as balubus as they did before. If you're a nurse, they'll 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 bring in the pandemic and they'll drive you out of your tree mad. They will, and they'll force things into your arm and your legs and everywhere else. That's the bloody problem with having anything to do with the Irish public service, the American public service, or the British public service. The exception would be the revenue commissioners. They don't have to interact at that much direct. And just think of it. They brought in thousands and tens of thousands of Ukrainians that have no vaccine at all. And there's no epidemic. Look at, I don't know the answer. I know what I do. I'd kick arse, and that's what I do. But it's a slow process, and I don't know is there public support in Ireland for it. Folks, that's all I can say. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It is a ridiculous situation. It is hard when people can't serve in their country because serve the people because of ludicrous policies. But that's it. Their parents, some of them, voted for this as well. So I'll let you go and bye. And we'll see you back for something else. And comment underneath. And please do not belittle our public servants, our teachers, our nurses, our guards, our military, and who has fire brigades. I didn't mention that. I think they're all right, and teaching, nursing, guard, and all of that. And please do not belittle them. I have great regard for them, and friends in hospital and everything else. And I know an awful lot of them personally. So we'll see you back for something else soon. Bye, 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 bye.